So the first question that we will solve is this. The question statement is this. Given an electric field E1 which is equal to 2AX cap minus 3AY cap plus 5AZ cap volt per meter at a charge-free interface between two dielectrics, we have to determine what is D2, the electric flux density, in region 2. So the interface is such that it divides into two regions. The interface is actually in between two regions. Say region 1 where the electric field is this, and region 2 we have to find out what is the electric flux density, and also we have to find out these angles theta 1 and theta 2, where theta 1 and theta 2 are the angles defined by the fields, the electric fields, with respect to the interface. So let's attempt to solve this problem. So let us draw a figure. First, let's draw a figure so that we will understand what exactly is to be found out, what exactly is to be determined. So let this be the, in fact this must have been actually given in the statement, but let's say this is what it is. In fact, this has to be given. Let me just verify. Yeah, so it is not mentioned here whether the interface is the XY plane. So the interface is XY plane, which might or which should have been mentioned here, but let's assume that it is mentioned here. In fact, it should have been mentioned here. I didn't write it. So the interface is the XY plane, which means that the figure that we are drawing is correct. So this is the X axis, this is the Y axis, so this is the interface, and this is the Z axis. Now E1 is given to be, in the problem statement, E1 is given to be 2AX cap minus 3AY cap plus 5AZ cap volt per meter. And let's say that this is region 1 and this is region 2. So E1 is the electric field in this region. So let's say it is like this. Let this be E1. And we have to find out D2, that is the flux density in this region. And we should also find out the angles theta 1, theta 2. So theta 1 is this angle, and let's say that this is region 2. Let's say this is E2 and this is theta 2. So that's what we are supposed to find out. And further we are told that, again, I don't think it was mentioned in the statement of the problem. This also should have been there in the statement. ER1, epsilon R1 is equal to 2. So in region 1, the dielectric permittivity is 2 and epsilon R2 is 5. Okay, so from the setup that we have here, this is the interface and the electric field is in this direction. You can see that it has 2 as its X component, minus 3 as its Y component, and 5 as its Z component. And from this we can easily make out that this will be the tangential component to the interface, because you can easily see that the X and Y components, some 2AX cap and minus 3AY cap. So the tangential component is 2x cap minus 3AY cap. The tangential component of E1 is this. So maybe I will write down here. Later on, if space is not sufficient, I will wipe it. So E1 is 2AX cap minus 3AY cap, volt per meter of course, which means that En1 normal component of this, which is obvious because the tangential component is on the xy plane, so normal component will be equal to, what is left here is 5 Az cap volt per meter. So we have straight away resolved the electric field in region 1 to its two components, the tangential and the normal component. Now we know that E1 dot Az, of course this should be equal to, from the definition of dot product, we know that this has to be equal to magnitude of E1 into magnitude of Az, which is 1, so I will not write it, cosine of the angle between E1 and Az. So E1 is this, Az is this, so this angle, cosine of this angle is 90 minus theta. Since this is 90, this angle is 90 minus theta 1, and cos 90 minus theta 1 will be sin theta 1. Sin theta 1. So E1 dot Az, if you do E1 dot Az, which we already have the answer, we get the normal component. So if we do E1 dot Az, we will get the answer as 5 equal to magnitude of E1 will be 4 plus 9, that is 13, plus 25. 13 plus 25 is 38. So under root 38, that is the magnitude of E1 sin theta 1, and theta 1 is immediately determined to be sin inverse 5 by root 38, which can be shown to be 54.2 degrees roughly, or 0.94 radians. So that tells us what is theta 1. Now that we have theta 1 with us, so I will write down here the answers. Theta 1 is 54.2 degrees. Now we move on to find D2. So if you have E2, you can find out D2. And we know that from the boundary conditions, we know that the tangential components will be continuous. The tangential components will be continuous. So the tangential component will be the same on the sides of the interface, either sides of the interface. So that means if I measure interface plus, interface minus, it will be the same. So ET2, the tangential component of the electric field in region 2, will be the same as the tangential component of electric field in region 1, which turns out to be 2ax cap minus 3ay cap. Whereas when it comes to normal component, from the boundary conditions we know that since it is charge free, it is specified in the problem that it is a charge free interface. So charge free interface, we know that dn1 will be equal to dn2, which means that epsilon r1 en1 will be epsilon r2 en2. Epsilon naught is there, but they get cancelled since they appear on both sides. Hence en2 will be en1 epsilon r1 by epsilon r2. That means maybe I can write here en2 will be en1 is 5 az cap into er1 epsilon r1 by epsilon r2. Epsilon r1 is 2, epsilon r2 is 5. So that gives us 2 az cap. Therefore we can say that E2 is equal to ET2 plus En2. That means if you put together the normal and tangential components, since they are perpendicular to each other, we get the electric field E2, which happens to be 2 ax cap minus 3 ay cap, that is the tangential component, plus 2 az cap volt per meter. So we found out E2. Now D2 will be equal to Now before I go for D2, maybe I can find out what is theta 2. So again, E2 dot AZ has to be equal to magnitude of E2, magnitude of AZ is 1, cos angle between E2 and AZ. So E2 is here, AZ is this, AZ cap is this, which means that cosine of the angle between the two will be 90 minus theta 2, as it was here. Here it was 90 minus theta 1, here it becomes 90 minus theta 2, which means that I can write it as sine theta 2, whereby I get theta 2 as sine inverse E2 dot AZ will be 2, E2 dot AZ will give you 2, divided by magnitude of E2 will be 4 plus 9, 13 plus 4, 17. Magnitude will be under root 17 because 4 plus 9, 13 plus 4, 17 under root, that is the magnitude. And that turns out to be around 29 degrees, or in radians it is 0.506 radians. So we have theta 2 determined. Theta 2 is 29 degrees. So we have the answers here. So theta 1 we have found out, theta 2 we have found out. Now D2 is quite straightforward because again we know the relation. D2 is epsilon naught epsilon R2 E2. It's a homogeneous isotropic medium, which means that we get epsilon naught we can approximate as 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi. Epsilon R2 is 5. E2 is over here, 2 AX cap minus 3 AY cap plus 2 AZ cap. So if you evaluate this, so 10 minus 15, 10, then divide by 36 pi and multiply by 10 power minus 9, we get the answer as equal to, so I will not waste time calculating this, the answer is 0.088 AX cap, the answer we can verify, minus 0.1326 AY cap plus 0.088 nano coulomb per meter square. The nano arises because of this 10 power minus 9, otherwise this number will be very, very small if you try to express it in coulomb per meter square. So nano coulomb per meter square, that is the answer. So we have found out, the question was, if you look back to the question was to find out D2, theta 1 and theta 2. We have D2 here, theta 1 here and theta 2 here. So that completes our solution of the first question. The second problem is this. A dielectric free space interface has the equation 3x plus 2y plus z is equal to 12 meters. So the interface is given in the form of an equation, and it is an interface between a dielectric and a free space. We have to find, or rather before that, the origin side of the interface has epsilon r1 equal to 3 and E1, the electric field, as 2ax cap plus 5az cap volt per meter. So the origin side of the interface is numbered as 1, the region 1. We have to find out E2, that is the electric field in region 2, which will be the other side. So the interface is such that, as we will see now, the interface is such that there is an origin side for the interface. Behind the interface, if the way we are going to draw it, it would look like behind the interface is the origin. So that region is called as region 1. It has epsilon r1 3 and electric field 2ax cap plus 5az cap volt per meter. We have to find out E2, the electric field on this side of the interface. And the statement says it is a dielectric free space interface. So this being 3, the origin side being 3, epsilon r1, the other side will have epsilon r2 as 1, which is implied in the given data. So let's move on to solve this. Okay. So let us first try to identify this interface 3x plus 2y plus z equal to 12 meter. This is the interface. So if I draw the reference axis here, we see that when y and z is 0, x is equal to 4. When y and z is 0, x is equal to 4. The intercept, x-axis intercept of the plane is 4. Similarly, when x and y is 0, when x and y is 0, z is equal to 12 meters. Everything is in meters. I am not writing it down specifically, explicitly. 4 meters and 12 meters. Similarly, when z and x is 0, z and x is 0, y is 6. So, a part of the interface will be this, like this. So the interface is actually like this. What I have shown here is only a section, and the interface is being here, the origin side is behind this. That's what I was telling, it is behind. So origin side is behind this. So behind this interface you have region 1 with epsilon r1 equal to 3. That is the data. And there is a value for E1 also. That is the electric field in that region is 2ax cap plus 5 az cap volt per meter. You have to find out E2, and this interface is an interface between dielectric and free space. So this side is free space. We have to find out the electric field on this side. That's the question. So for further clarity, I can say that if we see this interface as opaque, this part will not be visible to us. That is what I mean by the interface here, and the origin side being behind the interface. Okay, now let us try to solve this. So our first job is to find out, we are going to use the boundary conditions, of course, and just to recall, tangential components will be continuous across the boundary, and normal component of the electric flux density will be continuous. And in this case, nothing is mentioned about the charge on the interface. So we will take the interface as charge free. So we first find out a normal to this interface, because once we have the normal to the interface, we can multiply the electric field E1 on the other side of the interface with this normal and get the normal component of the electric field, and thereby with that we can find out the tangential components and then apply the boundary conditions. So the normal to this interface, many methods are there to find out. So I will find out the gradient of this 3x plus 2y plus z. I will find out the gradient of this first, and then I will normalize. That will give me the normal. So the gradient of this will be 3ax cap plus 2ay cap plus 1. And when I normalize this gradient, so this is the gradient, I normalize this gradient to get square root of 9 plus 4, 13 plus 1, 14. So this is the normal to the interface. So a n cap, the normal is this. This is the normal to the interface. And once we have the normal to the interface, we do this. And we do this to get the normal component of the electric field in region 1, that is behind the interface. So this gives us E1 dot AN. E1 is here, dot it with AN, En dot AN. I can write the result straight away. So when I dot these two, I get 6 by root 14. 6 by root 14. I am finding this out. This 6 by root 14 plus 5 by root 14, that is 11 by root 14. So y component is 0, so that into this gives me a 0, which I have not written down here. So this gives us E1 dot an cap is 11 by 14, 11 by root 14, sorry, 11 by root 14, and an cap, that is the normal component of the electric field in region 1, that is behind the interface. So when I multiply it with an cap, I get 3ax cap plus 2ay cap, this must be az cap, plus az cap divided by root 14, which gives, so that is En1 vector will be 33 by 14 ax cap plus 22 by 14 ay cap plus 11 by 14 az cap volt per meter. So this is En1. So that means since E1 is tangential plus normal component, tangential component will be E1 minus En1. So when I write that, so E1 is here, En1 is here, so from this I have to subtract this. That gives, when I subtract, that is from this, so if you see here, maybe more specifically I will write Et1 is E1 minus En1. So this we have to do. E1 is here, En1 is here. 2 minus 33 by 14. 2 minus 33 by 14 will give minus 5 by 14. It gives minus 5 by 14. And 0 minus 22 by 14 gives minus 22 by 14. So of course ax cap, ay cap, you are subtracting vector, so the result has to be a vector. And 5 minus 11 by 14, that gives plus 59 by 14 az cap. So this is this is Et1, because Et1 is E1 minus En1, which we did just now, and we got this so many volts per meter, that is Et1. So that means by applying the boundary conditions, Et1 is equal to Et2, and the question is to find out E2. So Et2 straight away we have, so it is the same as this. So Et2 we have with us. This will be the same as Et2 as well because of this boundary condition. Now we have to find out En2. So if we find out En2, put this together and we have the full result for E2. So En2 we can find out from this relation. Again, it's charge free, interface is charge free, nothing is mentioned about charge on the interface, so we take it as charge free. That means En2 is equal to E epsilon R1 En1 divided by epsilon R2, because this is epsilon R1 En1, this is epsilon R2 En2, epsilon naught is there, it gets cancelled, and epsilon R1 is 3, epsilon R2 is 1, because this side of the interface is free space, because it's mentioned in the statement of the problem that it is a dielectric free space interface. So now, since we have En1 here, if we multiply this with 3, If we multiply this with 3, we should get En2. If we multiply this with 3, we should get En2. And that, if you multiply, we can do it here. It's a simple multiplication. If I multiply it here, this becomes 99 because 33 into 3 is 99. 22 into 3 is 66. 11 into 3 is 33. Therefore, we have En2 with us, and Et2 is the same as this because of this relation. Et1 and Et2 is the same. If I just add these two, again I repeat, this is the same as Et2. So if I add these two, I get E2 as a whole. So when we do that, we have our final answer. E2 is equal to, I have to add these two. 99 minus 5 by 14. 99 minus 5 by 14 will be 94 by 14. If I am making any mistakes in addition, you have to correct it yourself. And then 66, remember we are adding this, 66 minus 22 gives 44, denominator is 14, a y cap, and 59 plus 33, that gives 92 divided by 14. 14 is there in the denominator. A z cap volt per meter. That completes our solution. Yeah, the last problem is this. Given V equal to 100 x square minus y square volts, that is the potential is given, and a point 2 minus 13 meters lying on a conductor free space boundary. So we are given the expression for the potential, which is a scalar field of course, and we are given a point which is supposedly lying on a conductor free space boundary, and we have to find V, that is the potential, electric flux density, electric field, and the surface charge density rho s at the point 2 minus 13, which is lying on the conductor free space boundary. And we should also obtain an equation, an expression for the interface, a mathematical expression for the interface. So that is the statement of the problem. Okay, let us attempt a solution. So we have V as 100 x square minus y square volts. Now at the point 2 minus 13, we can easily find out the potential to be 100 into x square. X is 2 at that point, so 4 minus, y is minus 1, so y square will be 1. This gives 300 volts. So the potential at the point 2 minus 13 is 300 volts, and we are told that this point lies on a metal free space or a conductor free space boundary. Now on the conductor, on the interface between a conductor, through boundary conditions we know that on the interface between a conductor and free space, on the interface, the tangential component of the electric field will be 0, which means that the interface will be a region of equipotential. It will be an equipotential region. So on the interface, all along the interface, the potential will be the same. So if we set V as equal to 300, we have an expression for the potential field. If we set V as equal to 300 in this, we will get the surface on which the potential is 300, and since the interface between a conductor and free space, that the interface will be equipotential, we will end up with an expression for the interface between the conductor and free space. So if I set V as equal to 300 here, I get 100 x square minus y square is equal to 300, which gives us x square minus y square is equal to 3, or y is equal to plus or minus square root of x square minus 3. So this is the expression for the interface. This is the expression for the interface between the conductor, because when this condition is satisfied, we see that the potential remains as 300 volts. And as I told in the beginning several times, conductor free space interface will be equipotential. So this is the expression for the interface. So let's now plot that expression and see how the interface looks like. So I will plot, this is actually a three-dimensional, but the variation is only with respect to x and y. So this is x, and let's say this is y. And z-axis comes out of the board. And when I plot this, when y is 0, x is plus or minus 3. Plus or minus root 3. Sorry, x square is plus or minus, x square is 3, which means that x is plus or minus root 3. So maybe root 3 will take somewhere here, plus root 3, and minus root 3 somewhere here. And the point, it is said that the point 2 minus 1, 3 is on the interface. So let us say that this is the surface where, I'll write it here, this is the surface where z is equal to 3. Remember, the point given is 2 minus 1, 3. So z is 3, and x is equal to 2 will be somewhere here, fairly close to root 3. X is equal to 2 will be somewhere here, and y is equal to minus 1 somewhere here. I am not drawing it to scale. Right, so this is the point x2, y minus 1, z3, because this plane is z is equal to 3. And that means we have our interface. Now you can see what happens as you increase the values of x. Our interface will be like this. Interface will be like this, and the same story here. So this is our interface. And remember, this is at z is equal to 3. So with respect to z, the interface will be like this. So it will be a 3. What I have shown here is what we are seeing here is a cross section on the z is equal to 3 plane, a section on the z is equal to 3 plane. So it will be an interface like this. Okay. Now that we have found out this, we can calculate the electric field straight away by using the basic relation that electric field is the negative gradient of potential, and that will give us minus, we can take the gradient of the potential. We are having everything in the Cartesian coordinates. So when I take the gradient of the potential, I can write the del operator, since we are in the Cartesian coordinate system. So this is the del operator, and V is given to be 100 x square minus y square. So we can find the electric field by simply taking the gradient of the potential field. This turns out to be minus 200 ax cap minus 200 x ax cap, rather, when you differentiate, because x square when you differentiate you get 2x, minus 200 x ax cap and plus 200 y ay cap. This is the so many volts per meter, of course. This is the electric field which we can calculate, easily by taking the negative gradient of the potential field. And at this is also a question, part of the question. We have to find out what is the electric field at 2 minus 1, 3. We have answered what is the expression for the interface. We have found out. That was also in the question. So we have found out the expression for the interface. We have found out what is V at the interface. V at the interface was 300 volts. We found that out. So V at the interface is 300 volts. And we are now going to find out what is the electric field. So at 2 minus 1, 3, the electric field will be, if you just substitute x as equal to 2 and y as equal to minus 1, the result becomes, so at 2 minus 1, 3, the electric field becomes x is equal to 2, minus 400, y is equal to minus 1, minus 200 ay cap. So this is the electric field. So if we see this, if we try to just show it here, because roughly we can show it here, this is the point, as I said earlier, this is the point 2, minus 1 and z is equal to 3. This is the point. The electric field is such that it has an x component which is minus 400. So in this direction, let's say x component of the electric field, and y component is minus 200, half of this here, which means that the electric field at this point will be in this direction. So if I roughly put together the components, I get the electric field like this. So now I can remove the components, otherwise I will have too many arrows there. This is the electric field. Now let us assume that this side is conductor, because this is the interface. We have still not identified which side is conductor and which side is free space. Let us assume that this side is conductor and this side is conductor, and this is the free space. This region is free space. Now what happens is there will be no electric field inside the conductor, and we have, if you see here carefully, you can see that the electric field is normal to the interface and in this direction. Which means that, of course, before I go to the explanation there, so let us continue with this assumption that this is conductor and this is free space. E we have found out, and D we can easily find that out to be epsilon naught. This is free space, epsilon naught into epsilon r here is 1 because it is free space. So epsilon naught into E is all that I have to do, which means that this has to be multiplied by 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi, which is an approximation, a very good approximation to epsilon naught. The result will be something like 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi into minus 400 ax cap. So D is 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi E. This is epsilon naught here, E is here, minus E at the point 2 minus 1 3 of course, ay cap, so many coulomb per meter square. Now by virtue of the boundary conditions, at the interface between a conductor and free space, or a conductor dielectric boundary condition, dn, the normal component, is equal to rho s. dn is equal to rho s. So we can say that, and again that's a part of the question, we have to find out what is the surface charge density at the point 2 minus 1 3. We have D at the point 2 minus 1 3, and that is normal to the interface. Now if I find out what is the magnitude of this, I have the magnitude of rho s with me. So the magnitude of this will be 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi square root of 16 followed by 4 zeros plus 4 followed by 4 zeros. This is the value of rho s, because dn is equal to rho s by the virtue of the boundary condition. So rho s is given by the magnitude of this, which is 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi under root 16 into 10 power 4 plus 4 into 10 power 4, because what we have here is minus 4 into 10 power 2 minus 2 into 10 power 2. You square it and add them and take the square root, you get rho s, that is the magnitude of D. Now, since this is the conductor, there is no field inside this, and the field is in this direction, D is in this direction. D is just a scaled version of E, because it's just free space here, it is isotropic homogeneous region. D is in this direction, and rho s is given by this value, which means that rho s is equal to 10 power minus 9 to 36 by root of, this will be a positive number, and that is the value of rho s. You have positive charge density here, and the electric field is, or the electric field or the electric flux density is in this direction. Now, so we have found out everything. In fact, what we were asked to find out in the question, we have found out. We have found out V at the point 2 minus 1 3, which was 300 volts, just to recall. We have found out D at that point, which is over here. I have not calculated this number, but you can do that. And we have found out what is E at the point 2 minus 1 3, and we have found out what is rho s. So rho s is this, which will be a number, and if this is the free space and this is the conductor, field is in this direction, there is no field inside the conductor, and rho s will be the positive value of this. A positive charge density will be here, and hence the field is emanating from the positive charge in this direction. Now, on the other hand, if this was conductor, that is, this region was conductor and this was free space, this region was conductor and this was free space, we would have had the electric field in this direction itself as earlier, because that was not dependent on which side is free space and which side is conductor. But now what happens is, since this is conductor, you will not have field inside this. The field will still be in this direction, but there will be no field inside this, which means that D will be in this direction, and hence rho s will be a negative surface charge density, because the field is pointing into the charge density, which means that the rho s here will be the negative of this. So that, depending on where the free space is and where the conductor is, the polarity of rho s will change. So to repeat again, if this is free space and this is conductor, electric field will be, the direction will remain the same, but in the conductor there will be no electric field. Electric field will be here, and since electric field is emanating from the surface of the conductor, rho s will be positive. Whereas if conductor is here and free space is here as shown here, the direction of electric field remains the same, the direction of electric flux density remains the same, but inside the conductor there will be no field, and since the electric field is coming and converging onto the surface, which is the conductor, the rho s will be negative. It will be a negative surface charge density which will be distributed on the surface here, and that negative will be the negative value of this. Negative will be the negative value of this. So that completes our solution.